Welcome back to my channel where I tell you about different party organizers and venues in Paris. And I've already told you about this organizer, Jacques Fromage, twice before, but I felt like I had to tell you about it again because now I've gone to all 3 iterations. After I went to the first one in the summer, I was like, I have to go back. So I went to the one in the fall. And then I went back to the one in the spring. That was this past weekend. And they're all so different. They all have this element of, what the fuck is this? This is absolutely amazing. But now that I've seen them, and of course, I'm sure every experience is going to be different for every person, but I thought it'd be nice to talk to you about the nitty-gritty things so you can decide which one is the best for you, if you even like this, and if it's your vibe and all of these things. So if you're interested in partying in Paris, nightlife in general, then be sure to subscribe because I have a lot of fun videos coming. I've already made some great videos about different places and exciting things coming for the channel and talking about music and Paris and France in general. So let's talk about Jacques Fromage again. So this is such a hard thing to describe, but there's just this air going around where people are just so happy that you never really experience in Paris, ever. I would say you feel this whenever the sun comes out and people are outside and things like this, but there's an extra element to it with Jacques Fromage because they are giving you free cheese as soon as you walk in. And the French really hit the stereotype of loving cheese, bread, and wine. So you can imagine how people are feeling. People dress up like cows. There are people dressing up like cheeseburgers, and like people just get really into it, and it makes it so much fun. And it gives you this time to kind of feel like a kid again, especially with this one because they had more rides. This was actually the first time that they did it for 2 days. Normally it's a 1-day event. They had this huge carnival ride that you had to pay for. Actually, it was 10 euros. But they also had inflatable obstacle courses. They had the ones where you could hit people with a stick. The sumo wrestling was there again, a bunch of other random games. And of course they had the giant cheese pool. So they had so many things going on all the time. You could get glitter on your face. They even had a stand where you could write letters to people in like nursing homes and things. Like there was a freakery. All of it was just to feel like a kid again. Like I would say a lot of it was actually sitting down and resting because you can't dance the entire time. But even then, so we're gonna talk about the music and the sound quality actually, because what was different about this one is because in the winter, it was at the same place. It was just north of Paris in the Hippodrome, which is actually really easy to get to. So in the one in the fall, they had tents and the stages were separate. And so you had a good sound isolation. You were never hearing more than one thing at a time. But here, because it was a day party and it was nice outside, it's always a day party, but because the weather was nice outside, they didn't have the tents or it would be too hot. And the way that they had the stages set up, it was that you were always hearing 2 things at once, unless you went way on the edge or something like this. And for me, that kind of noise all the time is too stimulating because my brain just can't figure out what is going on. And I don't know, maybe that's a me problem because you know the French, they love to talk over music. So they probably just hear noise. They're probably not that bothered by it. But for me, it was like they were trying to do too much and too small of a space because I'm so used to, like in the States, we have so much space. So this would never happen. We would never put 2 stages of this sound, of this size, with this sound quality that close together. And there was a 3rd stage, it was inside, but because it was such nice weather, it was a shame because it felt like there was really never anyone like inside like it was during the winter because of the natural flux of people coming in and out or people just staying outside because the sun finally came out. It was like a week of rain and it's actually raining again. It was literally just for the Friday and Saturday, so it was perfect timing for the festival. And I even remember for the barbecue during the summer, there was never this sound thing going on because it's kind of in the woods in a house, and this one's actually very difficult to get to. Like you have to take a long train ride to get there, and then you have to take an Uber for 20 minutes, or you could take a bike ride. But yeah, the stages are separate enough within the trees, and the way that they're facing each other, you never have this problem of hearing multiple things at once when you're just trying to hang out. Yeah, that one was a bit frustrating for me. And also the music changed, you guys. So the first day, because I went both days, the first day it was a lot of hard techno. And I knew that this was the direction that they were going because I heard it from a friend of a friend. but I just didn't expect it to be all day, and it was a lot because normally I don't listen to hard techno. I don't know if you saw my last video where I talked about how I'm now offering custom Paris nightlife itineraries where I tell you where to party and do like things like this. And I listed techno, but I need to go back or do another video where I show you specifically the type of techno that I listen to, because it is not hard techno, it's not speed techno. There are so many different types of techno. There's so many different types of electronic dance music in general that I need to narrow it down, because of course I could find it if I wanted. It's not that hard. But just the things that come to me that I get excited for that I know are going to be good or not because I'm specific in this type of genre, that's not what this was. It was something else, which is like, it can be fun. It can be fun, but for me, hard techno is something you listen to inside in a dark room where you can't leave. Not at a day party festival where people are just coming in and out and they're like on different vibes and things like that and kind of wandering around. But I will say on the second day, they had a lot more variety. I heard some drum and bass, I heard some more like housey electro things, which is what normally I would hear whenever I went the other two times. I definitely heard more bass music inspired things. And this time it was more hard techno inspired things. And I heard that this is the direction that they're going. So whether you like that or don't like that, I would just look and see at the actual lineup and just click through the DJs and get a feel, because I didn't do that. Normally I do that, but for this I don't do it just because the vibes are so good. Like even if I'm not really going for the music, because I'm never really going for the music, I'm going for a fun day outside with my friends, and I feel like Jacques Fromage always delivers on this. Something that I do appreciate about going to the Hippodrome venue, which is in the spring and the winter or the fall, is that it's so easy to get in. They basically don't even search your bag, and I don't know if I'm supposed to tell you that, but you just go like this and they're like, okay, bye. So easy compared to that summer one. I don't know if you watched that video, but I was with friends, and so we get out of the train station, and because they got searched, their car got searched on the way there and they stopped, but they also got pulled over because the guy was black. But you know, I'm black and we had a black friend with us. So they were so nervous about it that they just, well, we rolled first, but they just dumped their weed out on the ground so we wouldn't have any problems getting there. And then we take Ubers there, but then they don't want to go all the way there because they're like, oh, it's going to be a bit of a stress, we'll just walk. And then the police stop us and they're like, why are you walking? And then they're like, oh, there's dogs that are going to be waiting for you, so if you have anything, you need to get rid of it now. There were no dogs. They were just being bitches. And then when we got there, it wasn't like they were even really searching. So it was more of like this mind game that they were playing, which I feel like the police are often doing in France. And, I don't like it. And you know, since we're talking about the police, there are so many policemen at this festival. It was crazy. I felt like, so Friday, I feel like there were more people there. Saturday, it was still very busy, but I saw so many police officers. So I'm not sure if I saw more police because there were less people, or if there happened to be more police. Because I remember at some point I was just standing and I looked around like this. I saw 10 police officers, because you know they hang out in groups, or maybe you don't. They hang out in groups of at least 3 and they just walk around and chat and all of these things. And to me, it's just like, I don't want to see policemen while I'm partying, you know? And they don't even look like they're happy. They just look like they're just there. And then they also, they also had so many security. So there's police and then there's security, right? And I remember at some point I was at the main stage and I could see 2 security men in the DJ booth, I guess you would say. It was outside though. And the way they were just there and not happy and enjoying their time, but felt like they needed to be there because they were doing something when in fact they weren't actually doing anything, was just, I don't like it. I'm not a fan of the security here, and that's why I include it in every video for like, are they like, sometimes they'll be walking around the dance floor with flashlights. They're so insane. Like the police were walking around the dance floor to the point here, I was wandering around trying to find a place where I could just comfortably be and do my things. And the moment that I noticed all of these police at once, it was actually when I was in the food section. So the food was okay this time. I will say that this was my least favorite of the 3 times that I went. And every time they just get different food truck vendors. So yeah, I mean, the cheese is always solid because it's always by Belvedere, which is a fromagerie. is very local to Paris and trusted. And actually a friend that I invited on Friday told me the only reason he came was because he saw that it was like a legitimate cheese, not just like some ridiculous something. Because the cheese is very important, of course, like the quality and everything for a French person. I'm just there. The food was okay. I mean, there was nothing really to talk about, but I would say like on average it was about like 15 euros to get something. But my favorite thing, and actually my favorite DJs for the whole night, were at this hot dog stand. They were always playing like some kind of Brazilian music, maybe mix a little techno or something into it. They actually played a lot of songs that my husband Will plays in his sets, but it was like they played enough similar songs to where like I recognize them, but then the way that they were mixing them with other things in their selection, I was like, these are completely different styles of DJing. But yeah, this is my favorite place. I mean, even the hot dog guy, he was so fun. He was such a good hype man. Like, oh my gosh. And the drinks, what were the drinks? The drinks were like 10 euros a beer. And I don't drink when I'm out, so I don't suffer that cost. But I know a lot of people are like, 10 euros, you know, because you can get, I would say 6 to 7 euros is a good price for a beer. But 10 euros is what you would pay when you're just out. Maybe you pay 8 to 9. And for some reason, this extra euro, it really makes a difference. And I don't know, I remember back when I was in the States, like $1 here, $1 there didn't make a difference. But here now I think of everything in like baguettes and croissants. And so that's just like €1.20 or €1.30. So yeah, a euro, I guess, makes more sense. But what I like about going to this location, the Hippodrome, is that just next to it, there's a little épicerie, like a small store where you can buy beers or a drink before and just like have a drink before you go in, and you can get it for like 2 euros. So that's really nice. I feel like the only things I didn't really talk to you about yet were the coat check, which I was surprised that they had, but they had a coat check and they had one last time in the fall as well, which is nice because the temperature change can be so drastic sometimes. And then the lights. So the indoor stage, it had such a fun screen. I like this one a lot. And outside, the lights they were fun, but of course they don't really do much until it's at night, right? But I remember at night at the main stage, when I saw the lights, I was like, these people are being blinded. And I joined them and I put my sunglasses on because I was being blinded. And that's why I always talk about it in my videos, because some places I will go and I know I have to bring sunglasses. So I'm not like this the entire time trying not to. I don't even know what you would call it because I'm not epileptic. I wouldn't have a seizure, but sometimes I feel like it is triggering something in me to just have flashing white lights. They love flashing white lights, and I don't know why it's so aggressive. When I say they, I mean the Parisians. I can't say for everyone else, but like some places, the way that they just flash white lights in their face and everyone's having a good time, I'm like, who said this was a good idea? And why are we consistently doing it? Yeah, so that's basically everything. The only thing else is that I really like about this location for the Hippodrome is also there's flushing toilets. Like, it sounds so bougie, like, so nice, because the one in the summer is basically all outside. But if I had to say which one I like the most for ambiance, it's going to be the one that's really hard to get to and out in the countryside, like near Fontainebleau, because I love trees. Even though I live in the city, I feel like I'm a nature girl. And there's just something about taking this adventure to go really far to just hang out in the trees that I really like. But out of convenience, it's definitely easier to go to the one in the spring or fall where it's just 20 minutes from Gare du Nord. And as soon as you get off the train, you hear the music. It's so convenient to get to. You know, after the spring experience, I can't say that I would go back just because of the noise. Like, it was so disorienting to hear noise all the time and be talking. And imagine hearing French too and trying to understand French. My brain was just like, what is going on? But in the fall, it was really nice because the sounds were a bit more separate and it was cold, but it was still a lot of fun. And then because of it was cold in the winter, they have more stuff inside and more people are actually at the third stage. So it feels like you get a more well-rounded music experience between the 3 stages, as opposed to just like, I'll just like go check and see what's inside, but I really want to be outside because the sun's outside. So yeah, now you know all about Jacques Fromage, and I'm so happy that friends were able to come with me and experience it for the first time. Everyone that came with me loved it. They weren't necessarily huge fans of the music because it was a lot of hard techno the first day. The second day was better, I would say, because it's just not what we listen to. It's not outside music. But even though they weren't huge fans of the music, they had so much fun just being out in the sun with friends, playing games, enjoying. People watching is so much fun. You get to dress up, you get to do all of these things. And their next event is in September in the woods south of Paris. So now you know everything, and I probably won't talk about them anymore, but they're just so much fun. So much fun. And next week, I'm still deciding what I want to talk about, but I have fun options planned. So be sure to subscribe, share this video with anyone else that you know who could be interested in a cheese music themed festival in Paris, where literally the friendliest French people are. A friend came from the States and she was just passing through Paris, and I was like, you have to come here. These are the nicest French people you will ever meet. And she loved it. She loved it. Even if she wasn't even like, this is her music taste that she's out to, it's just like the feeling of being out here and all of these people and all these interactions. It was so lovely. But I don't know what I'm going to talk about next week. It'll be a surprise for both of us. I have 2 options lined out that I think will be really interesting, but you'll have to subscribe to see it, and I'll see you in the next video.